My name's Enrico Borba, and I got to be a part of Caltech's Japan internship program during the summer of 2018. In this presentation, I'll be talking to you guys about where I worked, what I was working on, and the different kinds of foods I encountered in Japan. I lived in Osaka, and I worked at Mitsubishi Electric Company, which you see there is the entrance gates to the corporate campus. However, that's not me, this is me. Here I'm wearing the standard issue Mitsubishi soft hat and uniform, and what I worked on was trying to see if adding some sensors to cars would be worth it. For example, one of the sensors I looked at was this AWR 1642 from Texas Instruments. In case you're wondering, it's not that great of a sensor. Now let's get into the food. At Mitsubishi, we would eat bento box lunches, and these contained a variety of items, usually one main piece of meat and then 6 or 7 other types of vegetables. These were pretty tasty. The dorm I lived in would serve breakfast and dinner during the weekdays, and this usually consisted of some main course with different kinds of soups on the side, which were often miso. Alright, now let's get to the good stuff. So, really close to where I lived, there's this restaurant called Sushiro, and they're one of many of the conveyor belt sushi places that are around Japan. So the way this would work is you'd walk in, you'd go to the little electronic machine there, you'd select, how many people were in your party, whether or not you wanted a table or counter, and then you'd print the ticket. Once your number was called, you'd be seated, and you'd find this little machine on your table. And on this machine, you could go and order specific, whatever you wanted pretty much. And they'd have some pretty weird stuff on there. Sometimes they'd have, like, salmon with cheese on it, as you can see here. So once you sent in your order, the chefs would prepare the food. They'd put them on these little plates, and they would differentiate your plates from other people's plates in a way you'll see in a moment. And once the order was ready, they would just send them out on the conveyor belt. And so when your order was approaching, the little touchscreen would play this sound that was pretty cool the first time, but every subsequent time was just really loud, because you have like a bunch of these playing all throughout the restaurant. I mean, listen to it yourself. Another really cool thing they do is they make sure the fish is fresh all the time. So what they do is they have these sensors under the plates, and they use that to determine if the fish has been out for too long. And these flippers will whack them out of the way. And when you're done stuffing yourself with all that fresh fish, you stack up your plates. The waiter or waitress will come by and count them up, and she'll give you your tab to pay at the front. Also, did I mention that each of these yellow plates are only 100 yen, which is about $1? Different parts of Japan will of course have different kinds of sushi. For example, when I went to Nara, I saw this persimmon wrapped sushi, which adds a really interesting taste to the fish. Another cool thing to try while you're in Japan is the poisonous pufferfish. It has a really different taste than fish I usually eat. But make sure you do your research before going to a restaurant and make sure it's certified. And if you walk around enough, there's always street food. For example, here, this is a blowtorch scallop, and that was pretty good. Another really common street food is takoyaki, which is wheat flour batter that's cooked in this little spherical shape that's usually filled with octopus. And if that amount isn't enough for you, you can go to any nearby izakaya or gastropub, which usually serves a bunch if you want it. A pretty common chain ramen restaurant is Ichiran Ramen, and the way it works is there's a little vending machine at the front where you pick what ramen you want, what flavors, what toppings, and it'll print out a ticket. You give the ticket to the waitress, sit down, and then she'll serve it to you. And this is my order here. I put a 2 out of 10 on the spiciness level, which you can see is the amount of red stuff that they put in your bowl. My friend Jeffrey put a 10 out of 10, and you can see what that's like. For a higher end meal, you can go to Kobe and get some traditional Kobe beef. This stuff was really good. I didn't even know that beef and steak could have this texture. It literally just melts right in your mouth. If you go to Japan, you're sure to see these food mock-ups that they have outside restaurants that are meant to look like the dishes that they serve inside. And these are really realistic. These are so common that there are even jewelry stores that sell jewelry that's meant to look like the food mock-ups, that's meant to look like the food. If you end up going to Japan, you'll be able to find many of the things I've shown here today, and plus a lot more. Hope you end up joining the program.